It's just brilliant fun. You're risking your life and you're attaching a kite to yourself. I mean, who does that? Working 18 hours a day on my company brought a lot of stress into day-to-day living. So it was an absolute release. It just became a part of my life. Little did I know I was heading for a train wreck. I can't explain how bad it was. It was catastrophic. Living with a constant, torturous, high-pitched natural gas sound in my brain, 24/7, it would never let up. It was like a tyrant. I think I was pretty close to doing what I had to do to never live again. The linear device saved my life. I suffered a neck injury when I was 12. I was on a monkey bar and I fell. I landed on my head. I remember my dad, he was very scared. He thought I'd broken my neck. That incident would come back to haunt me later on in life. I'm in the office. It's another stressful day, doing deals, putting out fires, running the company. And this sound, this high-pitched natural gas sound came from nowhere. I had to look to my right, my left. What the hell? What am I hearing here? And I thought, oh my God, I think it's in my head. So I went and saw a GP. He said, well, if it's tinnitus, there's no cure. You're going to have to learn to live with it. I was amazed at how little experts know about this problem. They have no idea just how torturous it really is. You can't just live with it. If you've got mild tinnitus, you possibly can. If you had tinnitus to my level, it's only a matter of time until you're dead. It was my birthday, 6th of October. We're walking to the King in Torquay, and I was very stressed from work, as usual. We were standing at the bar, and it was like my whole world went into slow motion. I looked around the bar, and there were people talking, but I couldn't hear them. All I could hear was a constant bombardment. And I just remember looking at Jo. I could see her lips moving, but I couldn't hear her. It was like a war zone. I was petrified. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how I was going to stay married. I didn't know how I was going to carry on. So I started to turn to the booze.
He went through hell. He was completely changed from the man that he normally is. And it was awful to be alongside your partner and you can't help. He ended up drinking quite a bit, staying up late, and that wasn't the answer at all. The answer was much more complex than that, and I'm used to helping people and I couldn't fix him.
I remember it was 2:03 a.m. because I woke up and I looked at the alarm clock, and a jet engine was running at full bore, and it was in my right ear. It was louder than anything I've ever heard in my life. I couldn't believe that I was hearing this. And I remember breathing heavily, sweating. And I remember thinking at that moment, if I'm going to live to 87, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And I felt alone, and I felt sorry for Jo. So I was trying to have a normal life. I was trying to be a good husband. So I started to wear noise-cancelling headphones. But then I couldn't hear my wife. I couldn't communicate with Jo. It was kind of like I was in an isolated room listening to her on a telephone. It was like being trapped away from reality. But without this device, I couldn't cope. I couldn't deal with the sounds that I was hearing.
There's no way that he can accurately put it into words how awful it was for him. It's frustrating, it's lonely, it's stressful from my side of things. But he is wonderful. He Googled a lot of stuff and he found these people that could help him, and they were in different countries to us. You can't get that sort of help here in Australia at the moment.
So Mark, yes,
I found an ENT surgeon by the name of Michael Gollenhofen. This man proclaimed to be an expert, and he was. He diagnosed my condition to be a serious issue with my neck. Following his advice, I got a referral for an MRI in Torquay, and the following day, my GP called an emergency meeting. 4 discs are protruded, and 2 of those discs are pushing on your central nervous system. And I got scared. I remember breaking down crying. I thought I was done. So I make a decision, I'm going to have invasive surgery. My first introductory meeting with a neurosurgeon, and he shows me titanium discs to replace the damaged vertebrae discs. And I remember asking him, can you actually do that? And he just stared at me in disbelief and said, brother, this is 2024, we can do anything. Next thing I know, I'm lying in the anaesthetic bay, I'm sedated. The anaesthetist says, we have to sedate you so that we can tell you that some of these drugs could be fatal. Are you okay with that? I'm thinking, not really okay with it, but let's go ahead anyway. And he asked me, are you ready? And I said, I'm ready. And Greg Mellum's face appeared and said, brother, you've already had the surgery. I was discharged from hospital and my tinnitus had changed. Instead of suffering a natural gas sound, I was now suffering a very high-pitched, real, distinct tone. And that's when things got really bad. So it was another day of normal torture. I walked into the kitchen. I could see these dark little crispy bits of chicken popping and frying, but in my head it was like a Rambo movie. It was like hand grenades going off. Just bomb, bomb, bomb. And it was just little bits of chicken frying. And the doorbell rang. It was our family. Joe walked up the hallway. I just started shaking. I couldn't move, I couldn't function, because I had to sit around the table again and endure the pain from the conversations and the laughter. When people laugh, it just rips me apart. I went into the bathroom and I sat on the edge of the bath. And I remember looking at a pair of scissors thinking, there's a way out. That was a real low point. In fact, I don't think it got any lower than that. But I love my wife, and I thought the worst thing I could ever do is that. So what am I going to do? How do I distract myself and give myself some time to change the way I'm thinking? David Attenborough is a really positive inspiration for me, and I decided to just put on a documentary. So I'm sitting on this couch with a glass of wine. I remember by now I'm probably an alcoholic. I didn't know how else to deal with things. And I'm watching this jaguar as a predator hunting along the riverbanks in the Amazon. And this jaguar launches itself into the water. You can't see it, it's gone. And it drags out a crocodile by the back of its head, and it carries this crocodile up the riverbank, and through its jaw-crushing power, kills this predator, this dinosaur, and that's how it survives. It eats it. And I remember thinking, if that cat can overcome its fears for survival the way it just did, I can find the will to overcome this condition. I got up off the couch. I got myself from the lounge room into the bathroom. I remember looking at the wine thinking this is not the solution anymore. It was like a power surge through my body. I slammed my fists on the bench. I was just thinking of this cat. And I remember looking up into the mirror. I saw a Jaguar staring back at me. My eyes were like a Jaguar. It was then that I decided to become the victor, not the victim.
Quite a lot to get linear to...
Michael Henning was a very experienced audiologist in Germany. He's a true professional.
So how does it work?
I'd been in touch with Michael and I knew the linear device was on its way. The linear device took weeks and weeks and weeks to get through the Australian Customs Office. Eventually I received this device and I followed it to the letter. Half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night. After 16 weeks, my tinnitus started to reduce from a level of 9 to a level of 2, and I got my life back. The linear device is a bimodal neuromodulation stimulation system. It plays an electronic tune on your tongue which stimulates the trigeminal nerve while playing an audio therapy sound. And over a period of time, what it does is it reduces your distress levels by distracting you from your own tinnitus, giving the brain the ability through what's called neuroplasticity to create new highways in your brain. So instead of focusing on the damaged nervous system, the result of a neck injury in my case, your brain has the plastic ability to re-engineer itself and create new highways. It's kind of like bypassing a broken electrical wire and creating a new electrical wire to hear the way your system is designed to hear. So today, I can still hear my tinnitus. You can't cure yourself, it's impossible. But the majority of what I hear is through new neuro pathways. The linear device made that possible. My health has improved, I'm off alcohol completely. I'm kite surfing. My wife and I are happier than ever. I feel free in my mind.
It just changed Mark's demeanour. We're happy again. He's happy again. He's living life to the fullest. He's kite surfing. It's normal and it's brilliant.
There's a lot of people out there in my position. They're still suffering. People end their lives over this. And our mission is to help these people, to give them the same opportunities that I was lucky enough to be given. There's so many people in Australia and New Zealand that have no access to this medical treatment, and we're going to change that. We're going to make a difference to people.